Both of you wake up, seeing the two suns, Targaryen and Una, both cresting over the distant hills. Still in the air, slight morning dew across the fields. The sound of fluttering.
I open my eyes and look at the fluttering.
You look toward the fluttering and see Hallel flying around inside of the camp, going from opening to opening. He's hesitant. It's at some points he'll go, and then short bursts go from area to area as he keeps his watch all the way around the camp.
I'm just like leaning against Warrior watching. I'm just like, oh, my heart is full. Yes, yes, yes.
Her hair off to the side is one globbed spike. As Warrior continued to chew.
Gross.
And once he was satisfied, and then once he realized that you weren't getting up and giving in, you spat out your hair, and it is now just kind of in this dreadlock.
That's gonna be a nightmare to get out.
Sleeping peacefully. Here.
Sarah's going to, like, kind of, as she sits up, be like, look at you.
Good morning. Really is a good morning.
I'm impressed. That happened a lot faster than I expected.
He lands. He's like, I'm trying not to stress anything if it still needs some regrowing, but as he bends his wing, just the edge here is just barely clouded.
Well, that's fantastic.
I never thought I'd be able to fly again, and this...
Well,
You could not slap the smile off of his face.
I do have a question, though.
Of course, anything.
Nora kind of, this is good or bad? Good. Let's do it. She pulls out her tome of ancient secrets. No, she has like her book, her tome packed book, where she pressed his wing basically.
Huh?
And she opens it and she's like, what would you like to do with this then?
Keep it. It serves me no purpose, and who knows what we'll find before or after.
Alright. Puts it away.
Thank you for finding it. I was unconscious at the time, but it must have taken a while to find it.
It did, but it was no problem. It wasn't. It's alright. It got me.
No, I thank Taliban frequently, but I don't know if I ever thank you enough for everything that you've done. You're one of the primary advocates of helping me in the first place.
It's my pleasure to help you. You've definitely paid us back.
Hardly enough. I'll do what I can, though. As he's now aloft in the air, about a foot or so off the ground, he bows. You can see he's got this natural instinct of flying, but refinding his balance and him trying not to stress the newly formed wing is definitely this give and this take as he flies back over to Jin. Begins just very carefully shaking her awake. You hear, as Jin, whenever he finally gets her up, he has now grabbed him and has thrown him slightly over and is now just kind of draped over top, her hair kind of acting as a curtain over top, but you can see she's probably giving him a good morning kiss.
Cute. Oh my god. They're literally goals. Not staring. Realizing and thinking about my own love. That nobody knows about.
Jacob is awake. Your handy dandy tag along is stirring awake, and Wyatt, believe it or not, is actually still sleeping peacefully.
Oh, that's
As is Zoom, but that's less of a thing for Zoom.
We'll leave him. Let's just leave him and wake up.
I'll just start making breakfast and tea.
For the better part of a couple of hours, you put together breakfast, get everything set up. Everybody does wake up. Wyatt is groggily. Oh, yeah, he expects it. The moment you're up, he starts to nudge, 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 nudge. Even as you're trying to make breakfast, he starts tearing at the canvas, just starts chewing on the side and tugging at it. Trying to get your attention, the whole thing bounces above you.
Spoiled rotten, what am I gonna do with you? Absolute stink. But yes, I will give him a full body massage.
Wyatt, not being a morning person eventually, sits up, just runs his fingers through his hair, and it catches on something, and he pulls out a familiar-looking band as he redoes his hair and pulls his hood back over top of his head. Grabs some breakfast and just starts crunching on it quietly.
I don't know.
At which point, your passive perception would pick up that there are a significant amount of fewer of horse snorts in the morning.
Pauses.
Talon's just making tea and giving her a massage like it's not a big deal.
Jacob goes out and Talavin? He immediately peers down. Our horses are gone.
Yeah, I know.
No? Wyatt immediately looks over. Is Buttercup gone?
Yeah, we had a few guests last night. But
The Buttercup's not gone.
no, they seem to
Really?
only want the 8 of those other horses, so I
What?
let them
Jacob,
go.
once again. What only one of the 8 of them?
It was a centaur. 3 of them. Maybe more. It could have been more. But I definitely saw 3.
Ah,
I think that's what's been following us.
you'd think.
Yep.
Great. Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm gonna go gather up with reins of the rope then.
Yep. Just kind of like...
Goes over and starts picking up all of these different fragments of rope, retying some of the shorter ones to the longer bits. And eventually you all pack up camp and head off. Unless there's anything else you all wanted to do.
I just braid Warrior's hair after I'm done massaging him. And then I redo mine.
Ew.
I comb through it, a little bit of water. I like
a little
pull out
bit
a
of
blade at one point, ready to just hack it off, and then I'm like, nah, I can't do it.
Not yet.
Looks,
And then I pull it out again, and I'm like, no.
thinks about it, looks away. I'm like, not quite yet.
Not after the jump scare last night.
And takes
I'll gather up all of your things and you take off. Go ahead and roll another d6 for me.
6.
6? This particular morning, there are no clouds adorning the sky. It is bright, and you can see that some of the trees that have been undisturbed for a time, as you guys have been traversing for quite a while, some of the trees are starting to bloom again, starting to bud from the various roots, from some of the stumps. You see that there are just very faint leaves coming back. As you all track along the side of the forest, You glance over again, and you do see a few different pairs of eyes tracking alongside you. Not getting any closer, not doing anything, just tracking beside.
Do they look the same as the ones from last night?
Make a you would see that one of them does look familiar.
I'll make eye contact with it, make my eyes flare.
It's the smaller. It's the smaller.
Oh, man. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not scare a kid. God damn it. I'm just gonna make direct eye contact with it and just stare it down. I'm just gonna
stops. You're not sure what it is about this particular look, as you have filled your loathing with it. It gets closer. From being about 80 or so feet in, as you guys are walking, it's getting 60 feet. 50 feet. 40 feet tracking in the woods.
I'm now just giving it this horrified, what are you doing? Look. I'm just
From what you can see and all of you are starting to pick up on this, this individual trekking through the woods beside you, who over the course, and this isn't over the course of 10 minutes, this is over the course of an hour, goes from this 80 feet to about this 40 feet distance away from you guys. You all are tracking along. You're also will tag along. I don't want to alarm anybody. Not being subtle or stealthy at all. But there's something in the woods. It's just tracking right beside us.
Are you just now noticing that? It's been tracking us for days, bro.
It has.
Sit down and shut up. Fucking Jesus Christ. How did you make it into a band of thieves? There are no requirements these days.
Just started.
Shut up.
Sorry.
It's not even an excuse anymore.
Be quiet.
Come on.
Nora's going to...
Now that you know it's a centaur, maybe you can talk to it.
Let's see. I'm going to do... message. I have to point. I'm going to point at the little thing out there, and I'm going to say, do you need something?
It suddenly hears this voice and looks around. This is spoken aloud, which you would know in Sylvan means, what was that?
Okay, I'll speak in Sylvan then. And be like, oh, so you speak Sylvan.
Begins responding, you speak our tongue. This is fascinating.
Why does it sound like Adriel? Ah!
It is Adriel.
No!
She got turned into a centaur.
No!
You're like, yes, I do speak your tongue. Why are you following us?
We were just curious.
I don't hear anything.
Just curious.
I wonder why you had so many horses.
Sounds like Adriel.
Jumps over a couple of logs that have fallen in front and treks a little bit closer, about 30 feet or so. You can see better now. She's wearing some leather. She has a leather pauldron over her right arm. There's just this modest piece of leather over top of her chest, and this little half corset bodice kind of thing as armor. Both sides of her head are actually shaved completely, and you can see that there are a couple of little tattoos on these like tattoo-like markings along her hairline. And her hair is actually this slight auburn, although it's darker the further down it gets.
What was the last thing she said? They were just
But
curious.
we were just curious.
So many.
Oh, I'm gonna respond to that. There were people using them for bad things, so we took them from the bad people.
Oh, that's reassuring. At the very least, they didn't seem to really know what was going on, so we decided to pitch in and give a hand. What are your plans with them afterwards? You're not bad people, or at least you don't seem to be.
No, we're not bad people.
Certainly gave Dad a start.
We probably would have taken them to a place where they could help good people. What did you do with them?
Oh, they're currently grazing. Said they were hungry, tired of eating the bark.
I can imagine. We didn't know how safe these woods were for them and didn't want them to just be out.
Oh, you shouldn't enter the forest. We are the guardians of this place, and you should do well to fear us.
Oh, yes. You did give us a startle last night, I might say.
I'm trying to be sneaky, but I'm not necessarily the... She stumbles. I'm not the really best at being sneaky.
I can't say I'm the same.
You seem to be honest enough. He glances over as you hear, Buona! Like, no. I don't know if I'll be back, but, thanks for chatting.
It was nice.
Takes off.
She just takes off running.
Being cantering and running off in the woods.
Girl just chuckles to herself. She's like, oh, okay.
Wyatt, you didn't notice before, but as you glance back over your shoulder, Wyatt was starting to ride closer to where you were.
Like trying to listen in? Or just...
His hand is on his dagger, and one hand is on Nirn's reins. He is just watching this whole time.
Okay, she'll look at him like she was just curious.
Great, I'm glad you could understand all of that. They're not coming back with more to fight us, are they?
No, they are the guardians of the woods. Or so she said. We are supposed to fear them.
Jacob looks over. Don't worry, I'm plenty on edge. From that, centaurs. Don't drink wine, do they? Friends, at the very least.
I'm curious now.
I don't know. They may. I don't think I've ever met a centaur before. I've met.
No, you haven't. Yeah.
Oh.
You've met satyrs.
I've met satyrs, but never a centaur.
Right. Pulls near and away. Sorry.
Sorry.
We'll ride for another couple of hours before your prisoner goes, I know you told me to shut up, but we're getting pretty close.
I'm just giving him this, like, deadpan look, like, spit it out.
Yeah, no, I was just letting you know we're getting close. It's up here on the left, but you told me to shut up, so I was trying to be so quiet. So you don't drop my body in the river. I'll keep shutting up.
I'll start looking out on the left.
You look out onto the left, and with both of your all's relative passive perception, as you all glance through the tree line, you do see that there is a cut path where originally the very thick trees have been slightly cleared away, so some of the underbrush has also been cleared away. And that there is the sound of rushing water not too far away.
Gonna lead in that direction. Not lead, but like head that direction.
Traverse the rest of the path and begin heading along this relatively narrow, it's kind of a single file line kind of area. As one after the other, you all enter the forest. About 20 or so minutes go by before he goes, I'm gonna shut up, but it's over there on the right. See how good I'm being? I'll be quiet. Glancing over to your right, as he indicated, there is the small cottage. The edge of the water.
Wary that there are no more bandits around. I don't think he was lying, but still wary.
Okay, go ahead and make a perception check.
Oh, almost good.
That was a trip right there.
So close. 8. It could have been so much higher. Why?
8. Glancing around left and right, you do not notice anything in the woods. No additional footprints, no additional sounds of cracking. You don't see any lookouts or lookout posts up in the trees. Fine.
It's fine.
I'm just at the back of the group.
With the dude.
With the dude.
Fine. You're scary.
I'll make my eyes glow. And then I'll like kind of smile and like keep going.
We'll get up to about 20 feet from the place. You?
I'm going to look for traps. I mean, I don't think there'd be any traps, but specifically looking for tripwires, traps, a way to make it to the door.
Okay. You glancing about, go ahead and make an investigation check.
Okay, that's a little better. 19.
19. You glance over, and from your perspective, looking up high, your keen half-elf drow eyes picking up elements of the leaves. Nothing here seems recently disturbed. And looking down to the ground, you do not see any traps. Wyatt, at this point, gets off, crouches down low to the ground. He shakes his head. No, I don't see anything.
I'm gonna...
Everyone else dismounts. And this little cottage is about no more than, I'd say, 30 to 35 feet or so wide. And probably about 50 foot deep. It's not a huge residence, primarily made of these mossy logs and things that have been pressed up against it to essentially disguise it with the rest of the terrain. It is on a slightly bumped up base, as logs themselves have been used to keep it directly off of the ground. There is what looks like an attempt at some kind of porch-like area, as the overhang of the roof comes over top, and there is a space for you to step up before the door. But it kind of looks completely in disuse as you approach.
There are no other buildings anywhere?
No other buildings that you can see. You do hear a and looking over to the side, there is a water wheel that is currently just turning round and round and round in the back, as part of it is right next to the river.
I'm gonna go to the door.
You walk up to the door.
Really open it.
It opens.
Not even locked. That's not good.
Are there any, like, didn't feel anything on the door, any traps, nothing, like...
Make another investigation check.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, clicked it and just pushed it and nothing happened. Oh, that's a 14? Yeah.
14? Don't sense anything. You turn the knob, it turns. Press it open, nothing trips along the top, nothing trips along the side.
I'm gonna open the door.
Wings open.
Hello?
Looking inside, you automatically, in this very low light area, you can see that there are shelves and shelves and shelves and shelves going all the way to the very back.
I like this.
Are we going to just retire here?
So there are things on all the shelves?
There are lots of things on all the shelves. Shelves are about 1.5 to 2 foot thick, extend all the way to the very back, where you can actually see that there's some kind of ladder that leads to this potential second floor.
There's a second floor.
I'm gonna say that I pulled yonder man off of Kiwi, tied the horses up, and I'm just like hauling in behind everybody.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Zoom. He stands essentially on the front porch and just begins scanning the wood line. Bow and arrow in hand.
I give him a nod.
Jacob looks at both of you and points to him and White. He's like, do you want us to go inside, check it out? Do you want us to check out here? What do you want?
I'll go check it out. I'll go in. If you all would keep an eye on him, though, just in case.
You got it.
I'll walk in.
He looks over at Wyatt and he's like, do you want to check around outside a little bit more, or do you want to watch the this guy? It's like, I'd rather watch this guy. You take a look around. Jacob descends these very slight stairs and begins walking, just in general, just near and around the base of the building, just to see what's what.
Nora's looking for people, because that's the main reason we came here, is because the dude said they had kidnapped some people, and we killed the band, and that means people would be tied up with no one to get them. So Nora's carefully just scanning for people, perhaps like a trapdoor leading downwards?
Yeah, I was going to start maybe touching things, trying to find like a trap door. I mean, do you want to walk upstairs, or do you want me to walk upstairs? Mm-hmm. It could be upstairs in the attic.
Well, Nora went in first, so she would be searching first. And
I'll go up the stairs then. If she's searching downstairs, I'll go up the stairs.
Okay. Go ahead and both of you make investigation checks.
14.
24.
24. Nora, you going in between each individual shelf, looking left, looking right. You don't necessarily see anything that indicates that there were people. There's no dust in the nearby vicinity, although you pass by one of the shelves and there are a couple of crates that seem dustier than the others. You don't see anything that indicates chains. You don't see anything that indicates that somebody has been there on the ground floor. Alvin, on the other hand, you ascend the stairs, and actually underneath of the stairs, you can actually see that there's this curtain. You pull back the curtain, and there's a cot there, along with this small shelf and some, what looks like a leather-bound journal with some papers shoved into it with a candle nearby.
I just snatched the journal up to look at later.
You grab up those things, head up the stairs, and when you head up the stairs, you see in this very pitch black room, which your dark vision essentially comes into play, giving you this strange black and white vision of what little light is available. You do see that there are some shackles on embedded in the wall all the way down the top part of the roof.
Are there people attached to them?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, that's good, though.
Nah, good and bad.
Well, yeah.
Fuck. if I investigate, can I maybe tell how long or how many people might have been up here, how long ago they might have been up here? Maybe, because it said they just had people in there 2 days ago. Well, I guess it technically would have been 4 days ago, because technically it would have taken them 2 days to get to where they were, and then 2 days for us to get to there. So it's been like 4 days. Can I maybe see if they left recently, in a hurry, anything like that?
Things still are a little bit fresh. But overall, as you're looking around, none of the places feel warm. But there is a well-used bucket in the corner.
Nice. Cool. And do these shackles look magical in any way? Like, just by looking at them?
You can roll an Arcana check. Investigate.
That's a natural 20?
Natural 20. Looking about at the different shackles, you do notice one thing interesting, which is, and it's only on 2 of the pairs of shackles, that same looking sigil that you've seen before is carved into 2 of the pairs of shackles.
And are these just bolted into the wall, or like...
Bolted into the wall.
How hard would it be to get it out of the wall?
I don't know. I'm gonna try and get it out of the wall.
Yeah. I want to try to like, I don't know, use something that I have to like get it out. See if I can like get one of them out.
How do you get it out?
I don't know what I want to use, because I don't want to break anything that I have. I'll just use like one of my plain daggers and try to like get it out. I don't know.
Okay, make a strength check.
That is a tainted 20. Yeah, 17 plus 3 is 20.
Begin picking and trying to pry away pieces of the wood around, and you see that they've been shackled by this bolt, where there's this big ring where the shackles are actually attached, and it is attached to this very long, thick bolt, which is in of itself embedded far into the log. It probably extends all the way from one side to the other based on what you're seeing as you pick at it. Pulling and tugging, twisting. As you continue to work on it, you're beginning to get the sense that it was probably constructed this way for a reason.
And I assume it is this dispel magic weird thing.
It's whatever that sigil, that crazy sigil that you keep coming across.
Alright, while Nora's looking around, while Taliban is digging in the wall, is there, make it, Nora would make it all the way through and make sure there's no people, and then she would start to snoop. What kind of stuff?
Okay. Roll another investigation check as you're being a little bit snoopy.
Natural 19. Of course, whenever it's something she actually wants, so that's a 25. Yep. Just like people know people. Okay, let's look at the stuff.
As you're poking around, looking at different things, you're looking at, so some of them are dusty jars, some of them are boxes and crates. Going around, lifting, poking, prodding. You're trying to be careful, obviously. Open one of the ones and you see that there are just a bunch of papers, a bunch of pieces of parchment on the inside. It's closer to the bed, where the curtain is currently pushed off to the side.
Is it inventory? Looking at it?
Take it out and begin inspecting the papers. It does appear to be some kind of ledger. The language itself is common, but the letters are slightly off.
Like a code?
Possibly.
I guess.
It goes around in a couple other places as you look at this different code and you know flipping through. You note that for later. Go over to one of the trunks, and as you open it, you see something.
Like a good something or a bad something? I don't know whether I get scared or excited.
It looks like a trunk, like a traveling trunk.
Okay.
As you open the top part, it looks like there are different leather straps on the inside. You have to pull it all the way out and open it all the way up. Right now, you're just kind of doing like little peeks, just trying to like figure out what else is like in the inventory. It was almost perfectly timed with whatever that notification was.
It was kind of.
And as you go over and you peek in this one, you just see.
Okay. So I'm investigated it further, but cautiously.
Pull out this bigger trunk. Carefully open the lid. And you can see automatically there's this wafting of spices and herbs coming from this. And as you look, there's actually different jars lining the top and the side of this particular container. Some of them you recognize as things, different components for spells. You look in one, so that's on the top. You look at the bottom part, and half of it from the right-hand side looks like a bunch of folded clothes, a bunch of just clothing elements. They smell stale, but fresher than if they were used. In the bottom part, it looks like there's some kind of drawer that pulls out. You can pull it out, and you can see that there are some journals, some writings. But in one of them, where you saw a little slide door, you slide the slide door, you see these these mint green wings.
Is it a pixie?
And a face, and arms, and someone cowering in the back corner of this little sliding cage.
Oh, it's a cage?
It has bars on the top of this little sliding compartment.
Okay, pixie speak, Sylvan, right?
Based on your experience, yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Based on your experience, you would know pixies do speak Sylvan.
Okay, in Sylvan, I was gonna say, like, one second, I'm gonna get you out. Is there...
You hear... No, I don't want...
Why don't you want out?
No, just make it in, just make it in. You hear slight sobs.
Yeah, Nora's gonna invoke Jin on this, so she's going to be like, in Sylvan, be like, I'll be back. You're safe now. And she's gonna go get Jin. Because Jin is better at not scaring people.
Jin and Talal are actually both... He's being more cautious, but you can definitely see he's champing at the bit, trying to go faster and faster with what he currently has. They're currently flying around the different trees, trying to figure out what is what, looking around the different area. But they're flying together.
Okay. I was gonna go and be like, Jin, can I have your help with this, please?
Well, oh, all right. Come on, Tella. See, actually, they both are holding hands as they fly back. She's like, can he come too?
Yes, it may be better if he comes.
They both fly over to where you guys are. he just has this big grin on his face. She just these bright eyes are just watching you back, and she's like, "Well, yes. What do you need help with?"
I found a pixie encaged.
Where?
And it's afraid of me. So will you go speak with it?
Of course, let's go.
And she's
And Talal's like, yes, that's cased.
yes, it's not one to speak to me, so I will please speak with it for me.
Both land on the top of the edge, and both of them, oh, no. Like, don't worry, we're gonna get you out. And you just hear them reassuring this individual in Sylvan. And it's like, do you happen to see a key anywhere? Talal.
Investigation? Do I see a key anywhere?
Investigate away.
I got a 2. So
Can I come down at this point? Because I definitely give up.
At this point, tick, 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 no, it would take you probably another 20 or so minutes to get to where you could probably yank it out.
I might come back to it, but for now, I'm going to go down.
Being marching down the stairs at the sound of the footsteps descending, she just cowers further in the corner. And you see your cousin, Talal and Jin all like just piled around this one rather large-ish suitcase with a bunch of jars and some clothes on the right-hand side. What looked like this little roll-top shelf, this little pull-out shelf of books, which is slightly ajar, since Nora opened it and then just didn't close it all the way, and then both of them, or all three of them, are all looking in the top part of this container.
Ooh.
Nora definitely wants to take the journal, but doesn't want to, like, reach her grabby hand in the not gonna do that yet. Gonna do it later.
I'm gonna like
They're
over.
separate. They're all separate chambers.
Okay, I'm gonna take the notebook.
If you grab up the notebook and take it out of the shelf and slide the drawer back in, this little roll top slide, and just it's this thick notebook.
Okay, just flipping through, does it seem to be kind of similar to the research?
Yes, very similar.
Oh, that's not good.
See, a lot of this also seems to be written in common, very messy handwriting, but there are just certain letters that, certain areas, certain elements that just don't make sense.
I'm gonna walk over to Nora and be like, what did you find?
Research. Nora doesn't look up at her, she just kind of like does the research and still into it.
Cool. I'm gonna walk over to where I see Jin and Talal, like not like walking too close, but just kind of like seeing what they're doing since they weren't here before.
You also, with your, go ahead and just roll a perception check, see if you can get the full view.
22.
22. You see that Jin is currently in the process of talking to something or someone, you glean, in the back corner, who actually has partially stepped up and is like reaching through the bars, grabbing at Jin's hands as she's just talking with them back and forth. Talal, on the other hand, is very precariously pulling out various vials and is mixing something that could help with the lock.
So cool.
I'm gonna like kind of look at Talal and be like, is there a key anywhere? Do you want me to look?
Places it back on the jar. pours something else. He's like, not that we were able to see, but I'm almost done. Yeah, anyway.
Cool.
Tips and tips as he's very carefully mixing whatever caustic liquid is in this jar that he's working with.
I'm gonna go search. I know I took the journal from where that bed was. And I'm gonna go search the rest of that bed. Like lift up a couple of things, see if there's anything like under the pillow, because people keep stuff under their pillows.
Roll an investigation check. You're poking around.
21.
21. Poking around, you do find a knife under the pillow. Very nice looking knife. It's got a black handle. The pommel itself looks like it was cast in some kind of silver. The blade itself, perfect, sharp, slightly curved on the end. Looks great. You also find underneath of the mattress, as one does, you flip over the mattress and see that there are 3 what look like small boxes attached to the bottom. And as you pry them off of the bottom of the cot, with the little drawers off to the side, you find stashes of various amounts of platinum and gold.
I will pocket them in my bag of holding.
They are pocketed. You can count those at a later date.
Cool.
Time. Or now, if you just want to sit there and count them right before everybody.
No, I just stick them in my bag of holding and the knife in the bag of holding, and then I'll start checking for, like, I don't know, I'll check down here for, like, secret doors or anything like that might lead down underground, or just something like, because criminals, got weird shit going on.
You do notice a couple of loose floorboards with that relative perception check right by the bed, and you open them up. And it's just the floorboards just so happen to be loose.
I check the rest of the room.
The rest of the room. Go ahead and make another investigation check. As Nora, you're looking through that journal, and you do see that there are many sketches of this particular individual. Various anatomical positions, various notes on different elements. You see several pictures of the wings themselves, which we're pleased to see that they haven't been tampered with. That they're still affixed to this person's body. These beautiful mint green, butterfly-like wings. Not quite the same as the dragonfly-like wings that you've seen on the sprites.
Okay. 24.
24. There are no trapdoors on the ground floor of this. Looking left and right, high and low, there are no strange pulleys, no strange things, not even a carpet that you can move off to the side. You even take some time and jump on some of the boards to see if they creak in any particular way. And you don't notice anything. At which point, Jacob and Wyatt both kind of stick their heads in. Jacob says, I didn't notice anything outside. It seems like the floor itself just opens up directly with these logs down at the very bottom.
It seemed like there was people upstairs, but it looks like they're gone, but could have been within the last few days, but I'm not really sure. But there's a bunch of shackles upstairs. It only looks like, and a couple of them might even have been magical, but I couldn't get them out of the wall.
Glad that doesn't affect me, but might be a problem for someone else. Why do you think they were magical?
Did they look like human-sized shackles? Like, they were all human-sized shackles, right? None of them were smaller, bigger than normal.
Some of them were slightly smaller.
But not, like, small. Like, for, like, a
nothing that would fit on Talel and Jin.
Okay.
Just slightly smaller. Like, for a smaller wrist.
I don't know. I mean, the symbol that they had on him, I think it dispels magic of some kind. So it could just be that somebody they captured had magic, and they're just trying to prevent them from using it to escape.
Definitely one to keep in mind.
I'm curious. I'd actually like to take one of them with us. See if it works on someone maybe like me.
How hard is it to get out of the wall? Did you try?
I tried a little bit, but it's kind of bolted. If you want to help me.
Sure. Why you're so good out here, and why it's just like giving the guy this stare. It doesn't look like he's blinked this whole time. The guy's like,
yeah, he thought I was scary. Phew.
Zoom kind of has this little bit of a smirk on his face as he glances over, and just like shakes his head, like, wow.
All right, I want to try to go back up there, and I'll like pick at it a little bit more, and then try to rip it out.
All right, go ahead and make a strength check with advantage since Jacob goes up and passes by where you guys are and starts helping out.
Natural 20, but that's only 23 because my strength is only plus 3. 23 is the max that I can get, I'm afraid.
23, yeah. With about 15 or 20 minutes, that additional 15, 20 minutes, both of you manage to get into this back and forth rhythm of... And then finally, with one big thrusting pull, so glad this is in context, we managed to pull it out of the wall.
Cool.
The bolt itself is about 8 or so inches long.
Yes.
You can, and barely, as you look through, you swear that the bark is lighter on the other side. On the inside. You're like, yikes.
Yikes. Cool. I will put that also into my bag of holding for later.
You now have one pair of anti-magic manticles.
Nice. Have they gotten the pixie out?
Yes. At this point in time, Dalal has managed to like pour this liquid over top and let it set before they both take a second and lift, and he holds it on his shoulders as Jen goes slightly in and helps out the pixie. She immediately just wraps her arms around Jen and just begins sobbing. This pixie, very unlike the sprites, her wings are this, lovely mint green, but her skin, instead of being this very similar to the other humanoids, is this very, very faint lavender colored, with very, very trace elements of pink in her cheeks. Her hair is this stark white and almost stands up on its own end, and she has her eyes are just these beautiful black orbs, which you can barely see the whites out of each corner. Clothes that she's currently wearing are primarily what would look like a feather based, but elements of it have been torn and tattered and removed.
So Nora's not going to approach, and it probably wouldn't be right to continue five-finger shopping while this is going on. So she's just going to keep flipping through the notebook and listening / watching this happen. Like, Jin, do you need anything?
Flipping through the rest of it, yeah, there are a lot of notes. Lots of notes. Almost the entire notebook is filled, from front to finish.
Read through all the notes before.
Can she roll an intelligence check for the odd places? Like, maybe they're a code for, like, if she pieced them together? Or read it back?
You can make an intelligence check and see if you can start decoding possibly some of it.
Natural 20.
Bro, that was a trip, though.
Yeah, it went from 14 to 20.
Oh, no. I'm gonna give this one to you.
Thank you.
Your intelligence check, you do notice that there are some similar elements to this. That there's a pattern to the writing. It doesn't match what you saw from the other notes, as those notes were in a different language. If I remember correctly, those notes were in a different language, and some of them were in common. Whereas this is in common completely, but has been written in some kind of code. However, you do start picking up on different elements, different phrases, and begin in your head, Sherlock style, begin rearranging the letters, begin throwing out some letters, adding different ones in. And as you begin reading through a couple of the pages, you don't manage to translate the entire thing, but as you're flipping through, you do notice some of the words that stick out to you are higher potency. You notice some of the words being non-removal. You notice one column, it's a column. One says non-removal, one says removal, and then it looks like some kind of tallying score. And there are significantly more for non-removal than removal.
Okay.
Flip to another page and begin scanning through and see like this strange tongue-like device, which as you look, you can see actually in the actual chest next to some of the jars is actually this tool. As you look at it, you can see like there is a place, kind of like to grab at the hips to snag a leg, but pinch just enough so that it won't let anyone get away. You notice like the measurements and designs for that, and you read through and kind of have a better understanding of what this is. You see on another page, you can see, like drawn outlines, drawn elements. Some of the other phrases that you notice, tried, or, oh gosh, I just lost the word for it. Tried collectors. The word that it is. So tried collectors. One of them being feather, hay, heather, grass, leaf. Just this whole list of stuff. At the very bottom, one is circled. Says quill. And searching through more, you do notice some of the same-ish drawings, those same circles, but they're different. They're modified.
The circles have been modified?
The circles have been modified. So sigils that you are familiar with, they look similar, but there are things that are just different about them. Different sigils have been drawn in different places. It's been rotated and turned in a different way. The placement itself is different.
So it's similar to the one sigil that we've been working with.
It's very similar, but there are some elements that are just different and some that have been added.
Okay. Making note of those to think about later.
But that's all the time that you have for at this particular moment.
After Taliban gets that manacle out of the wall, she wants to go investigate the outside of the house, see if she sees like tracks anywhere, anything that shows like people left this place. Because they had to leave some way.
Yeah, you go outside. Go ahead and make a survival check. As Nora, you've been picking up elements of the conversation, by the way, that between Talel and this Jin and this particular individual. Elements that you pick up are her name is Finaria. She's been held hostage for about 2 months. They were actually on the road when the guy who's been tormenting her was captured by the bandits. She only knows that because of what she heard outside of the trunk at the time. After Talel and Jin tell her what day it is, however, what she thought was 2 months has actually been 6.
She's been trapped with Mean Dude for 6 months. But it's only been a couple days since that dude's been captured.
Right.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
In hopes to not be discovered, she didn't say anything and has been trapped for approximately that it would have been 4 days in darkness, wondering what's going on.
I got a 22 for survival.
22. As you go outside, begin Aragorn getting down low to the ground, trying to figure out if there are any tracks, anything. You do pick up that there are some cart tracks.
In what direction?
They go from the front. It looks like they rolled in. So along the track all the way in. As you get closer to the river, you do notice that there are tracks, like footprint tracks, headed to the river.
Towards the river?
Right behind the house, by the water wheel.
Go investigate. Follow them.
Get to the edge of the water, and based on that investigation check, you would see that it looks like there's some torn bark on one of the trees on your left-hand side.
Go investigate some more.
It looks like it could possibly have been worn or recently snagged.
Like something caught on the bark and it ripped the bark off? Or it looks like something was like wrapped around it and like pulled?
Wrapped around and pulled.
Like a rope? Somebody pulling something across the river? How big is this?
Possibly. The river itself at this particular juncture, because it kind of snakes off in different areas and then reconverges into one much larger river. But this particular river would... This particular area is about 30 or so feet across.
How deep does it look?
It's shallow, about 2 to 3 feet right off the edge of the bank, and then gets much deeper toward the middle.
So could I maybe... If I look straight across from like where the tree is, if I look straight across the river, do I see maybe marks on a tree over on that side as well?
Yes.
Can I assume they moved yonder cart across the river with a pulley system?
Make an intelligence check.
Oh, no. +6. My intelligence is +6. That is an 18. I thought it was only going to be a +3. I was like, oh.
At first glance, you look over and there aren't tracks on the other side, but you take another look at those rope marks. Those marks on the tree, determine that it seems like it was some kind of rope, and quite possibly what this was used for was a stationing area for something different. I don't see any other cart marks, but if you were traveling along a river, along the edge of it, and needed to stop yourself, having something go across from one side of the river to the next to catch yourself seems like the best way to go.
Shit. We gotta find these people, and we don't know if they went upriver or downriver. God damn it. Okay, so where did those cart tracks lead, though?
The cart tracks were from outside, and then they led directly in, like, right by the front door.
And then nothing?
Just looks like they went back the way they came.
In which direction was that-ish? Like the way
Back along the path where you all came in at.
You can't really tell when the water's been disturbed because it's moving. Like, I can't be like,
Moving.
does it look like the water's been disturbed by
What
a
I
boat?
hate most about rivers is you can't track tracks.
You can't track tracks in the water.
Yeah, track tracks in the water twice. DM's always changing, always flowing.
Okay.
Anti cruel. I'm so mean. I'm so terrible. Sorry. I don't mean to be.
So looking upriver and downriver, like, anything else look disturbed besides these
Nothing
two
else
trees?
in the area looks disturbed. You spend the better part of a half an hour going through and inspecting that entire area, and nothing else other than those rope marks looks disturbed.
And there's nothing, like, what about the watermill? It doesn't, like, I don't know, vanish, or, like, if I touch it and turn into, like, a giant secret door, underground tunnel.
You set your hand on it much like a ceiling fan blade. Your hand gets wet as it spins.
And then the footprints, they just led to that point and then kind of disappeared, or kind of, like, walked
Yeah.
out.
Oh, dear.
Jacob at some point comes out and says, do you need any help with anything?
I think they had a boat.
Boat?
Yeah.
What would they need a boat for?
Probably to smuggle these people they're kidnapping and probably selling for money. Great.
Which way is it, left or right?
Yeah.
Upstream, downstream?
Yeah, your guess is good as mine. I pull out my map. What's upstream and what's downstream, baby?
Hey.
What's upstream and what's downstream, you ask? I'll tell you.
Tell me.
Downstream actually leads further off to the towns. The three kind of triangular towns of Kincardine, Archon, and... oh shoot, I lost the last one. Violand.
Okay. And then what is upstream?
Upstream leads further off into some mountainous areas, into a much larger lake. Familiar lake. One that every once in a while you used to go and play along the rim of.
They probably went upstream. I kind of just like look at it and I'm just kind of like, shit.
What's wrong?
I think I know where these people are going. And I don't think we can help them.
Why? Where are they going?
Is there anybody else around?
No, right now it's just you and Jacob. Zoom is on the front porch, as is Wyatt, and your best friend, who's still shutting up.
I told you that my older brother is alive.
Yeah?
Well, I also know.
I remember that.
I also learned that where I used to live, it seems that my brother's taking just people and taking them down to the depths of where I live, and they're not ever coming back out. And I don't know why yet, but I have a feeling, because this river leads to a lake that is right near my home.
Do you think your brother's involved in this?
I mean, he could be. Seems like a kind of bad dude right now. But, I mean, if it's happening in my home, then he has to know about it. So, it's just a matter of if he knows what's happening to these people or if he's doing this on purpose to these people. I don't know. I don't know a lot, really, yet.
Right.
Shouldn't it say that they were heading? I don't remember. Okay, when Spice and I scryed on my brother, he didn't say. I thought he said. No, that was Bay said that. Okay, she said that my parents went far south right before they died. Okay. Onto another continent.
Yeah, they went far south onto another continent. I don't know where, but they went far south. And then whenever they came back, all of this started going down.
All right, because I thought maybe I got that confused with my brother's shipment, and all I heard was that it needs to be ready to travel because it's a far travel. But that's all I heard, that it was a far travel or a long travel. There was like a great distance or something I wrote down. Tight deadline, far to travel was all I wrote down. Okay, well.
Sorry.
That's fine.
You have a very weird definition of fine, Talavan.
Yeah. You should see my brother's definition of fine, apparently.
Maybe we won't have to. And maybe it doesn't have anything to do with this. I hope, right?
Don't think that's someone I currently want to see yet.
I need to go make sure Wyatt blinks. Be back.
Breathe as well.
He's not good at that.
Yeah, it was a little scary, and he wasn't even looking at me, honestly.
He goes over to the porch, and you hear, "Breathe yet?" Wyatt. What?
What?
Go breathe. Go blink. Get off. I'll watch him.
Adorable.
Stalks around the corner and just like sits nearby, watches the horses zoom. Nora, in the meantime, Jin is currently consoling Finaria. Talel steps off to the side. He's like, well, I hate to be a bearer of bad news, but she's not in the best traveling condition on her own. I think we could spare room for one more for a short time.
I don't know, she is gonna take up a lot of room. It's fine. I wouldn't want her to go by herself in this state anyway.
I think Jin has just about convinced her to not go traipsing off into the woods on her own, but she's quite an interesting one. Has a lot to say.
Yes, she does. Does Jin need anything? I was going to continue snooping around for other...
You could bring the bag. If you could bring a saddlebag in here, she could just lay down on some of the moss. I think that would do her wonders.
Alright. Nora's gonna go do that.
Thank you.
Go outside, take the saddlebag, walks back inside, lays it down.
Jacob is off to the side talking to Talbot at this point, and you just see that Wyatt still is just barely... He hasn't blinked, it seems like, and he's just very, very faintly breathing as he's just watching this guy. As you step outside, you give him a look. He doesn't even make eye contact, he just gives a nod as you walk by.
Yikes.
Okay. Back inside. Put the thing down.
You go back. Instantly you hear in Sylvan, not. It's like, don't worry, we've been traveling with them for quite a while, and they'll leave everything open. It'll be all right. But let's get you cleaned up first. Jin guides her over to the edge. These just obsidian eyes just watch you as Jin flies into the bag. Wings quiver, and you can see much better now that she's not cowering in the corner. Her limbs are much frailer. Her form itself just seems slightly emaciated. She uses her wings and flutters into the bag, a much more sporadic movement than the direct dartingness of the sprites that you've noticed.
She probably hasn't flown in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Jin's head pops over the edge, and she says, Talal, I know you probably have absolutely everything that you need, but do you think you want to fly into Talavin, see if she has any additional supplies, or maybe Nora, do you happen to have any honey or anything like that?
I do not have any honey. I think you should go to Talavin and ask her. Kind of like winks.
Talon shakes his head. He's like, I can't tell if you're making fun of me or if you're actually trying to encourage me. And he actually takes off flying much faster than he did before. And
Nora's gonna snoop for valuable things.
Continue to snoop. Make one more investigation check for kicks and giggles. At which point, Jake goes to the porch and bothers Wyatt, and Wyatt comes inside and just starts poking around in other stuff. But he watches the horses for about 2 minutes and then comes back in and starts poking around in various jars.
I got a 21 for
Investigation. You poke around in some of the other trunks and valuables, and you do see in one of the trunks there are these beautiful, beautiful garments. They look like dresses. You pull some of them out, you open the lids, and they're adorned with what you think to be actual jewels. Adorning the bodice going all the way down. So there are some what look like gold trim around the sleeves. Just these beautiful ball gowns in some of these larger trunks. You close it. You go over to another chest. Huh?
Talking to Kinsey.
Yes, I may take them. I was thinking about it. I'm taking inventory for now. I think we should.
You go over to another one, and you do see that this one is miscellaneous coins. You see some platinum, you see some gold, you see some coppers and silvers, all just kind of mixed in together, along with a wide variety of these little pouches. Where they were probably other people's coin purses at the time, and we're all just kind of dumped in here and just thrown into the mix for counting later. Go over to another one, which is actually locked in the bottom.
I mean, Wyatt's right there, bro.
I know. There's not a key anywhere? Nowhere?
No.
Okay. Hey, Wyatt.
Hmm.
Can you pick this for me?
He set something down, and he was in the process of putting it on, but it was a hat. It was like a three-pointed hat as he was poking around in some stuff. Like he was getting ready to put it on. He puts it back in the box and shuts it. Goes over, slumps down on the ground, and begins picking at the lock. Comes unlatched as he pulls it off and says, gets back up, goes back over, starts poking around in some of the other taller bins.
What's in the box? Thank you. And then
You open it up, and I'm not sure where this was acquired, but you know what you're going to do with it. You see 4 stacks, four across, and it's about, I don't know, about 8 or so inches deep. With one row being platinum bars, and the other 3 columns gold.
You said 3 bars of platinum and how many gold?
Oh, you see 1 that's platinum, and then you see 3 that are gold, but it's about 8 inches deep.
Oh, damn.
bag of coaling.
It takes a second. You vanishes into the bag.
I'm gonna put these sort of coins in there too. And the 50 dresses.
Wyatt, at which point he's like, "Oh no." He takes that same box. Oh dear. Oh no, look what fell. Shuts it.
That
Stalks away.
with the hat?
Huh?
The box with the hat?
Oh, Hims wants to be a pirate.
That's pretty funny.
Goes over to another one. Opens it. Oh dear. Oh no. Nora, how could you be so? He shoves it in there clumsy. Closes it.
Nora's definitely laughing.
Oh my god.
Not like a fwa, but like her normal amused.
This quirk of a smile tugs onto the side of his mouth as he walks past and begins poking around in a couple of the other things. He looks and shakes this one jar and he's like, how much do you think I could dare Jacob to drink whatever this is?
Oh no.
Tilts and tilts. I'm not that mean. I'm not like him. Not that mean. Keeps poking around. Goes over to one box, peers open. Nope.
Well, I want to know what's in that box.
Keeps walking by. Nope. Nope.
Look, what's in the box?
Nope. You open it. There's a skull.
Nope.
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 What kind of skull? Not really. Nope.
You can open the box further if you want.
It could be made out of something valuable. It could not be just like a regular skull.
Opens it again. Regular?
You open it again. It's bone.
No. Nope.
It's like bone. See all its teeth. Some of them are a little bit pointed. Nope.
Nope.
Oh.
Taking all the valuable things.
At which point, oh no. Oh dear, Nora. What are you doing?
What is
Closes
he putting
his
in his
bag.
bag?
Oh my god. He realizes it's all gonna freeze, right? Like, he could damage
I
some of
know.
it. Oh dear. I have a bag of holding. Like, what's wrong with you people?
Not there.
I should be by
At which
now.
point, simultaneously, Talavin, you see Talel fly just round the corner quickly, doing this partial half spin as he rounds the corner and flies over to you.
I'm still like standing by the river, kind of like looking upstream.
You hear? Now it's just hovering right by you. Talavin,
Yes.
you wouldn't happen to have any honey or anything, would you?
Actually, I do, because I went through all my inventory last week and wrote it all down on a single piece of paper. Ba-bow!
Yes.
One jar of honey. Because I was just looking at it when you said honey, and I was like, do I? Yes, I do.
If you wouldn't mind, our new guest, her name is Feneria. She, well, our diets are slightly different, us being sprites and hers being pixie. But if at some point, if I could bother you to get some of that, I'm sure it would lift her spirits very much.
Well, I mean, I'm not doing anything right now. Do you want me to just come give her some? I got like a little.
I think Jen is currently in the process of cleaning her up and helping her feel better. Maybe by dinner tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I can just put some in like a
Alright.
little thimble for her or something small.
That would be much appreciated.
Cool. I usually put it in everybody's tea too. So
What about the things?
yeah, I threw that out. So you ain't gotta worry about it, I guess. Maybe not.
Save some for later.
Save it for later. I did not.
You're watching the very, very tip of the wing right before your eyes, solidifies, matching the other in a perfect mirror image.
Like that happens right in front of me?
His flight immediately stabilizes.
It's good. I'll start walking back to the house, and I'll just wait outside with Warrior, hang out.
Whoops.
He actually flutters over to your shoulder. May I?
To my shoulder? Yeah, of course. There might be
Land.
Also. Sorry.
For old time's sake, then.
For old time's sake.
At which point, everybody essentially begins congregating back in that same spot. The guy who's now being watched by Jacob is just looking around. He's like, I was shutting up before, but I was just doing a think. I don't do that very often, sure. But what am I doing? Can I go? I won't do it again, I promise. So all of you are like coming out at this particular point in time after you've rummaged through and grabbed the essential and the various valuables that you have.
Personally, think we need to destroy this place if we can.
I think we should burn it to the ground.
We're not allowed to burn things in the woods.
Yeah.
I mean,
technically, he said don't burn the trees. Technically.
These are trees.
They're dead.
So are fallen branches. With
and we
one
burn them.
Burns.
Yeah, but
perhaps there's another way. We wouldn't have found anything like explosion-y. No, like
wouldn't that cause a fire?
Rummaging through the stuff. I don't know.
Rummaging through? No. I mean, there's nothing in this day and age. There's nothing that really can cause like an explosion-y kind of thing except for magic stuff.
I want those other shackles. I do have 2 sets of anti-magic manacles. How long would it take me to get that other set of manacles out with somebody's help?
You got Jacob to help. It might take 30 minutes or so. 35 minutes. Now that you know how it's kind of constructed, you could probably get it done a little bit faster.
Asking Jacob. Sorry, we'll get there. Did you find anything outside? Because I don't think Nora was privy to that conversation.
I kind of give him like a look.
Does Nora pick up on that look?
Just kind of like, she just kind of like glances over at him for a moment and then just kind of like looks away. Not like a don't say anything look, but just kind of like like her eyes kind of widen and then she like looks over at him and then like looks away really fast.
Nora, with your passive perception, you'd pick this up.
So you found something?
Can't tell who you're talking to.
Both. Because you exchanged a glance.
It's like, this seems like you two need to sort it out thing. Zoom, he taps Zoom on the shoulders. Like, you make sure Skippy here doesn't go anywhere. We're gonna work on those manticles. Goes upstairs with Wyatt. Wyatt just stalks by. He looks at something else. Grabs it. Oh no. Shoves it in the bag.
Hope I don't fall.
just shoves it in the bag. Closes it. Clumsy. Follows Jacob up the stairs.
I'm so dead for this guy. He's literally the most adorable thing in the whole world.
I know.
He's replaced Spice with Wyatt.
But he was always there.
I know, but like now he's adorable. Instead of being all sullen and quiet.
Love it. Okay, so you did see something outside?
Yeah, it looks like there might have been a boat coming from upstream. It looks like it stopped here. And that might have been where the people are.
How come Jacob couldn't tell me that?
I didn't say he couldn't.
So are you sure the people came from upstream?
Yeah, it looked like they tie a rope across the river and it stops the boat. Here. And then I think they go back upstream with the prisoners.
Were you able to glean how long ago?
Not really. Water doesn't really leave tracks. But I just assume it's been at least 3-4 days, judging by how long the room upstairs has been abandoned, I guess. So probably 4 days, 3-4 days. Head start on us. But it's kind of the opposite direction that we need to go for Nessie.
Right.
I don't know how far ahead they could have gotten. I don't know how fast their water vehicle could potentially be.
Traveling upstream would definitely take a while.
It would slow them.
I'm gonna go ask. Nora goes down to the stream and looks at the tree. There's a rope.
There's not a rope, it's just like...
With like the mark on it. Because Talaman told her about it.
Yeah. Yeah. You see it. It's right there.
Hello.
Why, hello there.
I see you live next to this lovely river. It must give you lots of refreshing water.
Keeps me plenty dehydrated in the winter times.
That's very good. Do the people here bother you?
Like to pull all on my bark. It's not very nice.
No. That's not very nice of them. Do you know the last time they pulled on your bark?
I was thinking a couple days ago, and maybe they were here a couple days ago.
Oh. Did they...
You can talk to me.
Yes, I can. I like
You
it.
were rather strange.
Well, you're very nice to talk to. Can you tell me which way the people went this time? Did they go where the water comes from, or where the water goes?
They were going the most difficult way up the stream.
Oh, okay. I see. And that was a couple days ago.
That would be correct.
Would you happen
How
to
is
know
it
how...
you can talk to me?
Oh, I learned how to talk to you.
That is pretty nifty.
Do you have any way to tell me how many people were going the most difficult way?
They were numbers are interesting kind of things, but there were quite a few of them. Very interesting folk.
Interesting folk. So were they different?
Away from the sun. That I so enjoy, but they take it from me because I'm not tall enough, but at least I'm not thirsty.
Hang on, he said he took away from the sun?
He took away the sun, darkness.
They took away this.
It's a spell.
Interesting.
They lock out the sun because they're trapped.
Alright, well, Thank you very much. It was lovely talking to you, and I'm glad you have plenty to drink, but I'm sorry there's no sun.
Thank you very kindly.
And then she goes back to Talaman. To Talaman. You're right, they did leave a couple days ago. It said that they blocked out the sun and they went upstream.
Probably our kind. Don't like the sun.
Likely. Nope. Talvin had to bring up her map to do that. Mm-hmm. Well, they left 4 days ago.
We might be able to catch up to them, but I wish we could catch up to them, but I don't know how safe it is. It could be really dangerous.
True.
While she was sitting looking at her map, could she maybe gauge a distance of how much, like how far up the river they were about to have to go to get to that lake?
It's quite a distance.
So it would take like more than 8 days, maybe? Since they're going against the river?
Easily.
I mean, we could take a couple days and travel, see if we can catch up, and then if not, turn back.
I like tracking by the Sprite Village.
Oh dear.
That still doesn't explain why Jacob couldn't tell me and why you were so tense.
She just doesn't say anything.
Look, I know I've given you a hard time the past few weeks. 2 weeks?
It's just been a week and a couple of days.
It's been a week and a couple days. But I've been thinking. Although this might be the most severe thing, this is not the first time you've gotten me in trouble. And it's not gonna be the last time. I would say, and vice versa, but I don't think I've ever gotten you in trouble. It was always you.
I think it was always my brother.
No.
But it is now me. They're headed to my home. Which my home's name is, because I got it written down right here. Because I don't have it memorized, apparently. I looked at it earlier and tried to just didn't work. Shit. My home.
I wrote it down too.
Grew up in Desklin. Nope. Yes.
Asking the DM where you grew up.
It says city I grew up in. It says Desklin. That's what it says. I cannot tell if that is how I pronounce it, but that is what I have written down.
Yeah, Desklin.
Desklin.
They're going to your home.
Yes. This river, it starts at the lake near my home.
But what makes you think they're going there? You think they're connected somehow?
she like pauses for like a long time, like her eyes just kind of glaze over for a second, and she kind of like shakes her head and refocuses, and then she just kind of says, Bjorn's still alive. He's still there. They take people,
Or this is all news to you.
they take people under the city and they don't come out again.
Bjorn is alive?
You see her kind of like tear up for a second, and then she just kind of like, her eyes kind of widen, and she blinks, and she kind of like pushes him back.
Make a charisma saving throw.
Natural 20. 26.
Nice.
As the deal rolled like 6 dice.
Reverse suck them up into your eyes.
I don't know what he does with them, but that's probably where they're going.
I thought you told me that he died, or he was dragged away, or
Apparently he
during
did
the
all of
invasion?
it.
What?
It was all his plan.
The invasion?
Yeah. That's what Malik told me.
Oh. That certainly changes things. Did Malik say anything else?
No, I don't think so. There's a lot of new things happening, but they can't get very far because there's a lot of magical barriers, and so they can't really get too deep in yet. But I have someone that we might visit after this is all, after we do this favor, maybe.
Someone to visit?
Apparently, I asked Malik to look into people that might not have been in contact, might no longer be in contact with my family. And just as a side note, I don't mention him killing my parents. Like, I don't mention that part, because technically Malik didn't tell me that. That was Bae. I'm just not mentioning that because she's kind of just not thinking about it. But she's gonna, and she'll like pull out her notebook where she wrote down the name, because she never actually remembers anything herself. She has to write everything down. She like pulls out her notebook and she's like, the name was. There's a family that no longer does trade with him, and I think maybe they might be able to, I don't know, maybe we might be able to glean some information from them. It's the,
Never heard of that one.
Favara family? Was that right?
Favara
family. The father that used to reign, he stepped down, and his daughter is now in power. I think maybe he might or she might be able to help us maybe glean a little bit of information. Or at least we could figure out maybe why they stopped trading.
Right. And whereabouts are their location?
Oof. Would I know where they are?
Where who are? Favara?
Yeah.
They are southeast of Anthea. Essentially, you guys are on like near the north part of Croix Calasiel, just past the quote unquote like what would be essentially the prime meridian of of the world, which is where Anthea is. They are southeast of Anthea. So if you guys went directly south, if you all just booked it south, in probably a couple of months or whatever, you would hit their. No.
Okay.
No, just on you all are on like the northern part of Croix Calasiel. If Anthea is right here, like you guys are like right here in the yeah. It would be reversed because you guys are on the east side. So imagine this like on the east side. So north, south, east, west. Right now you guys are up here in the northeastern area of Croix Calasiel. If you went directly south, like this is where Anthea is right here, this is where they are, the Favara family, which they actually, their area the territory that they own is penal wise.
Penal wise?
Hang on, I'll spell it for you. Which is actually a place that, you used to be familiar with. Talavin, which is PENIL WYZE. They were a little bit smaller, but they definitely held their own.
Thank you for telling me. I don't know how long you've known about these things, but I'm glad I know now. Also, I wasn't speaking to you for a while, so...
It's fine.
Yeah. Good? Alright. I may need to fight you later, but...
Probably beat you.
Oh. Nope. Nora just leaves. And she like goes to walk up. I imagine it's on like a little hill.
Yeah, like I imagine like a little slant like down the cottage into the river.
There is a little slant, just a very little slant.
Do I want to attack you right now? I kind of do.
I mean, I think that would kind of be funny. We just fight it out real quick on the side of a river. They can all watch. She's ready. She's been waiting for this for like 2 weeks. She's been waiting for.
How long is still on your shoulder, by the way?
Huh? Oh!
Hello?
No, never mind. Oh, no, sorry. I forgot he was there.
He landed on your shoulder, and as you were like getting ready to head back, he didn't leave. Sorry, you forget where all the characters are. I'm sorry, I remember.
Oh dear, he just heard all. Oh my god. That's why she kept rolling. I was like, okay, who the fuck's dying? Hopefully nobody. Oh,
everyone's
shit.
dead or was dying. It's fine.
Oh no.
He's just listening.
I kind of like suddenly realized Hillel's on my shoulder and I'm like, oh, hey. You were literally looking at me and you didn't say anything?
I forgot I thought he was gone. I thought he took the honey and left.
No, he never took the honey.
What's he doing?
He's just fully understand your thinking. I don't know why necessarily you'd fight it out. I don't really know what there is to fight out. You obviously revealed something that was meant to be kept secret, and you are obviously still upset. I was just listening to both sides of this entire encounter, really. Don't mind me.
I imagine it's like that mid-battle swing where it's like, yeah, and then, oh.
Plink, plink, plink.
Like,
Plink, plink.
there, like, oh, there's a sprite there.
He was on your opposite shoulder as you were talking with Nora. It's just so natural. He was just on the opposite side, just Being quiet. He's soft-spoken individual. He's not gonna.
Definitely forgot you were on my shoulder the whole time.
Figured that much.
Yeah.
But also, I didn't think that it would be not that I was listening in, but it would be rude if I suddenly interrupted. So I figured I would stay quiet. Evidently, that's made things worse for both of you.
No,
Apologies.
it's fine. You definitely just saved me from, like, I don't know, maybe almost getting my head lobbed off. So it's fine.
Right. That it could be used for something positive. It doesn't count towards your life debt, by the way.
Darn. It was worth a shot.
I do have to relatively agree with Nora, however. There are too many unknowns currently, and I don't know if it's beneficial to go upstream on the chance to find someone. Then again, we took a chance to, instead of going back to try and save the ones who had been taken, made the decision to move forward. My home village. Ensure that they were safe.
We have faced a similar problem before.
You forego someone now and hope to possibly save them later? I don't know.
Well, I doubt we'd save them later. You'd be under nearly impossible means of getting to them. No, I guess we just continue on our way to... Where are we going?
Kind Cardine.
Yeah, that. You're going there.
Kind Cardine.
I think that would be...
Nora takes her hand off her sword and...
Ended up making it all the way back. It wasn't too far of a walk in the first place, but you end up making your way back to the entrance of the cottage. Messing with something right here. You end up making it back to the front of the cottage, where you see Wyatt is now once again kind of sitting, staring blankly at the one guy, and he's just like, he doesn't blink. I don't. Why doesn't he blink?
Magic.
I don't like it. I don't like it. Shutting up. At which point they all kind of glance back at you too. It's like, well, what's the plan?
We're going to continue with the original path. We're going to Kind Cardine.
Alright, off to Kind Cardine. Are we doing anything with this building? I mean, the Paragon said no burning. There's no way we could, I don't know, push it off to the side. There.
I mean, I don't know.
We could Eldritch blast it.
I mean, all of those pegs and the logs on the underneath seem to be what helped keep it upright, or at least from what I was able to tell.
I mean, I'll blow off
Like that.
Eldritch blasts, buddy. Wait, don't you get more Eldritch blasts the more levels you have?
Yes.
Yeah,
How many do we have now?
but, 2?
2?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
mine's a cantrip, so I can just cast it.
Yeah, mine's a cantrip.
Yeah, you can just cast it as many times as you want.
I just want to know how many.
Okay. Feel like, does everyone have everything that they wanted?
Did they get those shackles out?
That's the word.
But yeah, they did. Yeah.
I put them.
They
I
while you
got
guys
them
are having the conversation, they got the shackles free.
So I have 2 anti-magic shackles.
Yeah.
Manacles?
You have 2 anti-magic manacles.
Cool. Did they get the other ones or just the 2? Because I mean, I don't care either way, but
It was just there were only 2 that were magical, and the rest of them were normal manticles. From what you could tell.
Okay. Can I also say I took the the herbs and stuff from that little kit.
The components.
Like,
just say you wipe the kit clean.
Yeah, I just take
left the trunk.
All the stuff that I wanted, yes. Because now I have components.
Take all the stuff that you want.
Yes.
And the herbs themselves seem in very, very good condition for spellcasting. All of the components seem to be very well ordered, very fresh.
Nice. I put them in my bag of clothing. And then...
Do you want to just put them in... Oh, okay. Get some frosty in there. It could damage the herbs.
Or it could
but freezing cold.
Preserve them.
But freezing cold damages plants. It damages them.
Eldritch blast.
Yeah. We're gonna start Eldritch blasting the bottom part of that, where the... Yeah, whatever it's sitting on.
You go down to the bottom and... Go ahead and... What's your all spellcasting modifiers? Yours is charisma and yours is... Wisdom. Go ahead and roll a couple of d20s and then add those modifiers.
Okay.
Natural 20.
Yowza.
How many times do you want me to roll?
Nice.
It's spell attack bonus. Is that what you added?
Yeah, so 25 and 18.
25 and 18. Nice.
9 and 25.
9 and 25. Both of you take some time and carefully position your hands. Nora, your first blast doesn't quite knock some of the logs out from underneath, while Talavan, time after time, just whittling away at some of the elements, some of the pieces of it. You notice parts of it start bending and aching forward toward the water. Both of you simultaneously let off this final blast, and some of those middle logs give way. Parts of the building just begin tearing apart and rolling away, some of them clogging up the river as it tumbles into it.
Yikes. Hope we didn't just create it.
Half of the structure still remains, but about half, has been pulled away, much like the Titanic, how it was cracked, just pulled away. It's going to take a while for this to be repaired.
Could we get the rest of it to fall over?
It's going to take you a little while longer.
That's alright. They're not going to use it anyway.
Cool.
Like this.
I'm just going to let that dude go.
Yeah, I think we should just let him go.
I'm not giving him a horse.
No.
He's going to have to walk.
Right.
I'll give him some food, I guess, though, so he doesn't die. Or no?
Hey, do you know how to survive in the wild?
No.
I mean, he can barely think for himself. Like, the dude's gonna get mauled by a bear.
Oh my. If we leave you here, will you die?
Hope not.
We'll drop you off at the next town. Be thinking about whatever it is you want to do. Not stealing. Stealing is wrong. Get on your horse, we're leaving.
Gathering up your various supplies and your horses, you head off. Make a perception check as you guys are heading back out through the woods.
Natural 20.
22.
Nice, natural 20. Both of you, as you all begin heading out, you notice 6 eyes. 3 pairs of eyes. Nearby. One of them shorter than the others.
I look at Nora and I'm like, look, I know they're cool and stuff, but if they take my horse, we're gonna have issues. So maybe just warn them.
I don't think they're gonna bother us anymore.
I hope not.
You see the younger one begin riding up and walking parallel to you guys as you all are heading in the woods. 50 or so feet away.
Okay. Does it seem like they're escorting or following or curious? And the two bigger ones are coming as well?
Further behind, but yes. They're about 100 or so feet off.
Okay.
This one's trotting along.
Does she keep glancing over? Like...
Yeah.
I kind of just, like, acknowledge and, like, do, like, a head nod or something. She doesn't...
Returns the head nod. King canters up a little bit further. All of a sudden is 40 feet closer.
Oh dear.
30 feet. As you guys reach the edge of the woods, Wyatt is once again riding right next to you. Zoom is riding close by. Everybody's staying within close proximity. You guys head outside of the forest. Begin trekking alongside. She continues about 30 or so feet away, trotting along beside you.
Okay, I'm gonna message her again, I guess. Speaking in Sylvan. Like, hello again.
Greetings. How's it going?
It's going alright.
Where that loud crash? Wanted to make sure nothing was burning.
No, we were not burning. We were warned against burning.
Rightfully so. You shouldn't be burning things up.
Yes, we destroyed the house of the bad people.
I noticed. We were wondering how we were going to deal with that.
So you've been keeping an eye on them?
For a little while, yeah. Looks over. For a little while.
Did you happen to see them 4 days ago? Leave?
Days? I didn't, but the others might have.
Okay. Do you think they could describe what they look like for me, possibly? Would they be willing to do such a thing?
A persuasion roll.
Natural 1. She runs away screaming.
Thinking that is like, I don't necessarily know if they'd be too interested in talking, though.
Okay. We were just trying to keep them from kidnapping more people.
Absolutely.
Have someone kidnapped.
Technically, it's a bad guy.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Guys riding behind, like. Mind my asking why you guys look so different?
Why I look different?
We're used to seeing ones kind of like those two and that one there. But, you three kind of look a little bit different.
Oh, we're just from a different place.
Oh. That's interesting.
I'm from very...
That's interesting. We were doing a little bit of a think, you see, and since there was just a little bit of a misunderstanding, we went on and had a little bit of a word with the others, and they said that as long as you guys were going to be nice and everything, they'd be willing to come back.
Oh, the horses?
Hey.
Oh. Really?
Yeah, no. Initially, they, when you told me earlier that talking about how you were going to try and find some nice people for them to be with, they definitely seemed to like that idea. Although two of them, they said they'd rather stay out there in the woods, but the other ones seemed to be willing to go back as long as they're good people,
Would they be happy out in the wild, though?
I mean,
oh yeah.
Just so we know, they still have their saddles and bridles on. FYI, we never took any of that stuff off. So unless they took it off, that shit is hard as fuck to get off. Maybe somebody should attack them.
Oh, yeah, they have arms and stuff.
Well, yeah, they do, but the horses don't.
Arms.
They could take it off, perhaps.
Well, if they don't want to give the horses back, they could just give us the tack back to sell. Just saying.
Did you take their saddles off?
We left them off in the woods. We don't really have any use for these things.
You left them in the woods.
Do you need them?
Talibin, do you want all those saddles?
The only issue with that is I don't know how much stuff I can hold, so no, I guess it's fine.
No, that's alright.
Such a waste.
They probably weren't very nice anyway.
Oh, you sure? There were some nice shiny ones.
You know,
They're a little bit softer around the rims and kind of like that little padding in the back. I mean, I couldn't necessarily use it for myself, but I could definitely see where someone like you, with not as round of a rump as me, would enjoy something like that.
well, I mean, if you wouldn't mind showing us where you left it, perhaps?
Well, I mean, we left it off where we are. Obviously, we're not going to be disclosing that particular information, but you all seem like pretty decent folk, and considering you didn't set the place ablaze and managed to take care of it as we were trying to figure out if it was safe to get near, I'd figure a little favor for a favor. You did us a favor by taking care of that atrocious-looking building and returning some of the pieces of wood to their rightful place.
Alright. That sounds like a nice trade.
Of course. And did you want all of them to come back? I mean, we could try and persuade them to come back, you see, but...
They don't want to come back, they don't have to. But I'm going to take the what to do.
I was gonna say that. If they want to stay in the wild, I'm sure they could always find nice people to be with. But if they actively want to come back, then we can take them back and try to find some nice people for them. If that's what they are more comfortable with. Really, it's up to them.
All right. Well, as long as you promise not to set anything ablaze, I will be back.
Alright. Thank you.
Oh, nice. I like you. Runs off into the woods.
Talibin, they're gonna bring those saddles back.
Yes! Where are we going to put them?
I have a bag of holding.
I know, but it's hard to get a saddle through a hole like that. Saddles are not very small. But I mean, I guess you got barrels of wine in there. Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll just be some damp, cold leather. It'll buff out. I can buff it out.
Buff it out.
I can buff it out.
We could just put a bunch of saddles on each of our horses.
Like the Princess and the Pea.
Both saddles.
Bunch of
I'm not
mattresses.
familiar with that story.
What's that story? I don't know.
I don't know.
Sounds interesting.
I'll end up riding for the rest of the day, which you all arrive there about midday. So for the rest of the afternoon into part of the evening, you continue to traverse the terrain, and it isn't until later in the evening, right as you all set up camp, that the centaurs do return. See, the very familiar one that was trying to fend off Warrior, and both of them just have this anime partial stare down as they inch forward, set the saddles down at the edge of the wood, turn around, and just wordlessly go back, except for the younger one, who ends up trotting up, says, "Not too friendly."
I wasn't exactly being friendly the other night, so...
No, just a misunderstanding. We had word with the horses, and unfortunately they indicated that they kind of like prancing around in the woods with us. A little bit liberating.
That's perfect.
But, yeah, they definitely know where to find you.
Probably not very long, but...
We just have a herd of horses that just...
Following us around the whole
We
campaign.
always know where to find you.
As you guys start going in a completely different direction.
Yikes. Yikes.
That is fine.
All bed down for the evening. You all have 8 surprisingly good saddles.
Okay, I was gonna say I'm gonna pick if there's some that aren't nice, I'm gonna leave them. But if they were all damn shit.
3 of them are in especially good condition. One of them is a little bit cracked around the edges, but the padding looks like it was recently replaced on the underside.
So you said 3
Overall?
particularly nice ones?
3 particularly nice ones. 2 of them are cracked, and then one of them is just kind of average. But one of the cracked ones looks like the underside was recently redone. You guys settle down for the evening. Talal offers to take first watch, and you do end up seeing Fenaria.
I make sure I give her some honey. Well, I give it to Talal to give. I don't approach.
Actually, it seems like they've been talking about all of their experiences and so forth, so they actually managed to get her to sit out on top of the moss-covered bag. And they end up pulling out the moss, and she ends up sitting with them. And he gestures over that it's okay for you to approach.
And I'll just, like a little thimble of honey, and I'll just like set it down in front of her.
Grabs it, hands it to her. Thank you.
Hope it helps.
I mean, it just starts like dipping her fingers in, sucking on her fingers.
Yeah.
Then they continue talking. Talal approaches you once again and has the ring. Says, it's it's time for that experiment to see if it actually is going to hold.
Whenever you're ready.
Need you to roll a d20 for me.
19.
19. Okay.
It only lasts for 19 days.
Oh my god, don't you dare.
Good to know. It's good to know. Stuff and things. Whatever. He finally manages to pull the ring off of his finger, and he's like, I'm terribly sorry about earlier. I suppose I should have made myself known at the time.
It's fine, really. It's not a big deal. I mean, sure.
And I'm also sorry, I don't know how to get this back to normal size.
I'll just. How small is it now?
I was thinking about that.
He himself is like 4.5 or so inches tall.
Small.
I'm just gonna have him put it in my hand. And I'm just going to stay just like this for however long it takes to attune to this. Like, my hands are gripped together. And I'm just gonna, like, sit down. And I'm not gonna move until I'm attuned to it to maybe, hopefully it'll get bigger.
About an hour goes by before you feel something shift in your palm, and ring is once again in your hand.
Okay.
Or normal size.
It's bigger now. Woo! Woo!
Scary.
Who's next? Zoom, get over here.
Currently in the process of eating.
You want to be... Ooh, I'm not going to say it like that. He's not... I don't know if you ever... Ugh. This is going to just sound really bad. I'm really bad about, like, being... I don't have a great bedside manner. This could grow your tongue back. I'll link with him.
Here, how? I mean, it grew back into Talel's wing, but that happened recently.
Well, that's just what it does. It regrows parts that are missing, is what Nora said. I don't know. It's magic. God knows whoever God is. He would know why. But I don't. But we can just try. I'm not to like put pressure on you or anything.
Yeah. You sure? You sure I can use it?
I'm not missing limbs currently. So maybe if I lose a limb, we're going to have to fight over it. But for now, all you.
Sure.
It takes about an hour to in tune with it. But
Right.
But yeah, no. All you.
Tries it on each one of his fingers.
Yeah, it's attuned to me right now. Just maybe hold it, or pinky maybe, for a little bit.
Yeah, it does end up sliding on his right hand ring finger.
Okay. I won't make note of that. Hold it here.
Can you just roll a d6 for me?
Come on. This is going to be the first time I ever roll immediately a 6 on a d6. I can just feel it.
Yep.
It's going back a tongue. I'll take it. It's fine.
What was the number?
It was 6.
It's gonna take a week. It's okay.
It's fine.
That's fine.
Damn it. I didn't roll it very well. It was
That's exactly what you said you wanted. We were like, oh, it's going to be hilarious if I roll a 1 for Talal and he gets it back in 2 days. Zoom takes a week. Hey, what's wrong with it?
I don't know.
It's fine.
After about an hour or so, he tenses as it thickens seemingly and forms on his finger. He nestles down for bed, lays his head off to the side. He begins taking watch. He offers to take first watch.
I'm gonna take third watch.
I will take no watch. I'm just kidding. I'll take second watch. I mean, listen.
Jacob actually pipes up. He got second. You get some sleep. You look tired.
Take that as an insult or a compliment. Probably, and it's fine. I think in my head, I'm like, do I really? I need a mirror. I take out the silver mirror and I'm like, damn it.
Hey, you got a very faint shadow. Just very faint shadow.
That's nice. I just kind of am like, thank you. And then I go over to my bag of holding and I pull up the mirror and I'm like, what? Oh, man. I make an avocado mat. I'm just kidding.
That's really mean.
I make myself a little, like, bedtime mask to put on my... No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, those are...
Right.
I do.
Okay.
You guys drift off to sleep.